Today I'm trying this cool chocolate spiral bread. Lately it has been raining a lot where I live and I wanted something that felt warm for autumn, and I think this recipe fits perfectly into that. As per usual, I made a few mistakes and I'll be sharing some tips and things I could have done differently in case you want to try it too. Today I'm doing a voiceover because I have a lot to say. Let me know if you prefer the voiceover or just reading text. Here's the recipe and let's get started. First I'm making the dough. This recipe is based on brioche bread, which means it's hydrated with egg and sometimes a bit of milk and has a lot of butter in it. Although this recipe in particular doesn't use as much butter as others. After mixing all the dry ingredients, I added the milk and eggs and mixed until it was integrated. Once that happened, I added the butter at room temperature in 3 parts, mixing in between. After that, I started adding a bit more flour, 1 tablespoon at a time, until the dough wasn't sticky. I wasn't sure how much I should add since the original video didn't give an estimate, but I ended up using around 5 tablespoons. The dough still stuck to the bottom, but I think it's fine since that also happens in the original video. I let the machine knead the dough for around 8 minutes. This dough needs a lot of time kneading, so I think doing it by hand will be pretty exhausting. You can see how it turned out here. It's super soft and doesn't stick to my hand. I shaped it and tried to give it a smooth surface, although it wasn't that smooth actually. Then I put the dough in a bowl with vegetable oil in the bottom and the top. Cover it with plastic wrap and let it proof until it doubles its size. After that, I pushed it a bit to take out the gas and left it in the fridge overnight. Hi! It's the next day and I'm making the chocolate spread. This is the easiest part of the whole process. Just melt the chocolate and butter in the microwave and add the sifted icing sugar and cocoa powder and you're done. Here's the dough. I moved it a bit the night before so it looks different. I don't know why, I just felt like it, but I don't think it changed anything.
Whoa, she fell. And she fell hard, bitch.
I divided it into 2 and rolled it out. You're supposed to make a 20 centimeters by 38 centimeters rectangle. I cut out the size in some parchment paper to use for reference. Also, if I had some overflowing dough, I cut it and added to the parts that needed more. I think you're not supposed to do this, but who's gonna stop me? The dough was pretty hard to roll out just out of the fridge. I recommend you let it come back to room temperature before rolling. Then I spread half of the chocolate mixture, leaving a space on the upper edge. Here I remember I had a tiny spatula, perfect for this job. It's so cute. I put some water on the edge and started rolling with the help of a scraper. I cut the roll in half, tried to roll it for some reason, then realized it wouldn't work and just pinched the closure instead. I tried to stretch it and shape it right away, but then decided it would be better to let the dough rest for a bit while I roll out the other half. You can see here how much easier it is to roll out the dough once it's at room temperature. But this also opened up another problem with the chocolate spread that I'll explain later. Here I grabbed the first dough again and started stretching it with my hands, and I'm totally out of frame. Here it is compared to the original size. After that, I just cut it in half and braided it. This part was a bit tricky. The original video put one end on top and one in the bottom, so I tried doing that, but it just didn't come out how I expected. Wait, when did I break this? I was being careful to not break it completely and it turned out like this. Okay, I guess. Here's the second dough and I need my editing me to pause the video a bit. So here's the chocolate spread problem I mentioned earlier. You can see that the chocolate in the second dough was messier than in the first dough. I believe that because the first dough was cold, the chocolate cooled down and almost hardened completely, making it easier to cut and have clean layers. Whereas the second dough had already warmed up when I rolled it out, so the chocolate didn't cool down and the result is messier layers. I think it would be good to let the dough with the chocolate rest in the fridge a bit before baking the shapes to have an easier time later. Okay, that's it. You can continue the video. Then I just let it rise for about 1 hour or so until it looks like this. I paint it with egg and bake in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius. Celsius? Celsius, yeah. And here they are. They rose a lot more in the oven. I wasn't expecting that. Some of the chocolate burned, as you can see, but you couldn't taste it, so it's fine. This is the one I did first, and this thing really bothers me. Okay, so I'll do a quick summary of tips for future me and for anyone that's watching and wants to make this recipe. First, let the dough go back to room temperature before rolling it out so it's easier to do so. Second, put it back in the fridge for a bit after adding the chocolate spread so it sets. Third, don't do whatever I did to break the roll. I still don't know what happened there. And that's pretty much it. I don't have too many tips today. The bread tasted really good, perfect for eating with a cup of coffee in the afternoon. I also think this recipe is pretty versatile because you could replace the chocolate spread with pretty much anything. I personally really want to try it with a cinnamon roll filling. I think it will be really good. The only downside to this spread is that your fingers will end up dirty, but yeah. That's the end of the video. I hope you liked it and learned something. Bye!